Captain's log. Stardate 42069. We are approaching the Spun Nebula in the Wook sector, on our way to Jamtopia to investigate a distress signal. The crew has also been tasked with researching the different flower types on the Sativian ring surrounding the planet.
Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the starship Twee Prize. Its lifelong mission, to explore strange new substances, to seek out new buds and new tribes, to boldly go where no wook has gone before.
Welcome aboard.
Welcome aboard. What are we doing here?
Guys,
did you see that distress signal come in? I think we should see what's going on.
I investigate that.
All right, Lieutenant Hogan, put it up on the board.
Mayday, Mayday. This is Spam Jam from Jamtopia. I'm at the end of a 5-day twiddle running. I can't do it any longer. My hips hurt from all this hula hooping. I can't dance no more. Beam me up, Mayday, Mayday.
Welcome to the bridge, Spam Jam.
Oh, thank you for saving me, fellas.
Dude, your hips. How are your hips?
Oh, they're hurting. I'm sitting down right now, T.
Right
now, man, I'm hurting, buddy. Too much Mahali. Too much Mahali. I was boinking and doinking, and I couldn't boink and doink no more.
Welcome
What went
aboard.
first, the boinks or the doinks?
Mostly the doinks. I could live with the boinks, but it was the doinks that really just put it to me. Thank you for asking, Lum. Oh, thank you, fellas, for saving me.
All right, well, you can just sit here on the bridge and participate. We got an interesting night at here aboard the USS Twee Prize. There's a new candidate for captain. I'm going to be leaving, and so we're going to interview this fella and get to know him a little better and see what he's like and see if he's a good fit. I believe his name is Colonel Jordan Hoffman. Is it Colonel? What's your title?
I like to consider myself a lieutenant colonel, lieutenant commander.
Lieutenant Commander. Hey.
Yeah. Thanks for beaming me aboard, fellas. I appreciate it. I didn't want to have to take the shuttlecraft, but, good beaming now and then is what the doctor ordered. So it's great to be aboard the USS Twee Prize.
I don't know how long we're going to be able to keep this going, but I'm just I'm like, let's go for it.
Do it.
I've always wanted to
Bro, he's killing it already. So
I've always wanted to step up my game and be more than a lieutenant, like a rear admiral or something.
Yeah.
You would be a rear admiral.
got big rear admiral vibes for sure, Kev.
Big rear admiral vibes.
Yeah.
Hey, sailor.
So I don't know what led to this. There was kind of this simultaneous conversation we had with the crew. We're mostly nerds, right? One of us, I think, is less into it than the rest of us. And then, so on one hand, we were talking about doing sci-fi topics. On the other hand, I was going through the guest list for the lot and like thinking about the people I really wanted to have on the show again when we started the new show. And right from the beginning, Jordan, I think I reached out to you like week 1 or 2. I was like, I have to have you back on. And then it kind of was like a marriage made in heaven, right? You get wook+live, Jordan Hoffman, Star Trek. It works. It's perfect.
Yeah, well, there is a lot of Fish and Star Trek are like 2 of my things, and for those who don't know, and why would they? I do a lot of writing about Star Trek for various news outlets, and for a couple of years, I actually hosted the Star Trek podcast, like run.
Yeah, not A, like it's the premier preeminent.
Yeah, like I don't do it anymore, and I actually, it's the weirdest thing, like life takes you in weird places. I somehow got involved a decade ago with the people who run the official Star Trek conventions, in Las Vegas and all over the world. And they just need a guy to like moderate the panels who can, like, anybody can moderate a panel, but not anybody can be like, oh yeah, episode 13 of season 2, so there's like a very small group of people. So I've been very lucky. I've done it for like a decade. I've done it in Las Vegas, in London, in Germany, in New York, in LA, and I've even done it on the Caribbean, like on a cruise ship. I've done 4 of those, and another one next year. This year's was canceled because of the pandemic. A week on a cruise ship with a bunch of Star Trek nerds.
That's amazing.
It's so weird. It's like if you've ever done the Jam cruise, it's like a similar company. It's like these themed cruises where they take over the whole ship, and this is just a week of Star Trek crap, and they get a lot of the old actors, and they do a lot of these actors are they're pros. Like a lot of them are Broadway people, so like they're like, oh, they get a night each in the big hall to do whatever they want. So some of them are like, they sing and dance, they do a review, they'll do a stand-up comedy or whatever.
And they make a good bit of money off of the conventions and stuff, right? Like that's how I understand it. It's a big business.
It is, yeah. If you're on Star Trek and you make the fans like you, that is a secondary revenue stream till the day you die. If you play it right.
Goals.
So
and then you get on Jeopardy. And
there you go.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say even like Will Wheaton still gets a ton of Trek love, and does
some of them do it more than others. I mean, honestly, some of them like still have careers other than Star Trek, and they don't need it as much. Mm-hmm. But even those who do, like, it's a way to make money, but also it's like nice. Who doesn't want somebody kissing your ass for a week, right? So, like Riker, Jonathan Frakes, he doesn't need to do. He's plenty wealthy. He still works. He directs a lot of television. He doesn't need to do Trek conventions, but he does it when it fits his schedule. If he's busy shooting something, he takes a pass. But if he can do it, he'll go and he'll have a great time. He's he walks on like a god. Everybody loves him. He tells a bunch of jokes. And
I feel like, once you're in that world and sort of in that, it's sort of, why wouldn't you embrace it? Because as an actor or whatever, it's kind of not a role of a lifetime, so to speak. Like it's something that you can always lean back on, and you always have like a fan base or something there that likes you,
Yeah. And they treat the fans well because they, the better you treat the fans, you make them feel like, they're not the weebs. They're the more they'll shell out the bucks for your autograph, So
exactly.
It's a symbiotic relationship. But I will say most of the Star Trek, alumni are actually like cool. Like they're not assholes. 1 or 2 of them are assholes, but like 98 of them are great.
Is this Shatner that is the asshole?
He actually may have been years ago, but I only started getting into this a decade ago, and by then he had mellowed. The way to deal, and I've been involved with him a lot. I've met him a number of times.
I was gonna say he's probably on a lot of those panels, right?
Yeah. He doesn't know my name, but he sees me. He's like, oh, this idiot again. But
the guy.
If you treat him with respect, he'll give it all back. Mr. Shatner, sir, it's so nice to see you and wonderful to see you. And that's all you need to do. Just
And I think he deserves that respect.
Yeah, for
I mean, he's
sure.
kind of like the butt of a joke a lot of times for people, but he's also deserving of that respect. I mean, he's Captain Kirk. Like
Captain freaking Kirk, of course. You
And
know,
I mean, well, not just that, but his entire career. I mean, the guy, you know, he's had a great career overall. So yeah,
Hell of a
definitely.
musician, right?
Right.
He was TJ Hooker.
He's TJ Hooker, Rescue 911. He is the star of the only feature-length motion picture in the language of Esperanto, and that is one you can easily find on archive.org. It's called The Incubus. It is not a good movie, but it's not a bad movie either. It's in Esperanto. So yeah, I think maybe in the 80s he had a reputation for being difficult, but by the time I came around in the 2010 era, he was mellowed. If you treat him if you give him a sir and a nice to see, then you're smooth.
I also will say, somebody brought this up in the chat, but the skit of SNL when he tells everybody to get out of their parents' basements is a classic.
It's a great sketch. And it comes from a time, and I think he regrets that. I think he definitely regrets it. He lost some
props there. It was still, yes, but overall, I mean, it was funny. It was a good. I mean, it was.
I'm offended though because I'm in my basement right now wearing a captain shirt.
I mean, it's true. I mean, look, whether it's fish, whether it's Trek, I mean, whether it's baseball or football, which is like a very manly thing, right? If you're so into something that you've memorized all the stats and you're obsessive about something, you got to get out more. You got to. And, Trek in the day, now Star Trek and science fiction is a little bit more welcome in the mainstream, but it was for nerds who couldn't get laid back in the 80s. That's what it was. And, if you were memorizing that stuff and thinking and teaching yourself Klingon and learning about Vulcan rituals, it's back then there was a stigma to it. Not so much anymore. The kids are liberated now. There's thanks to the internet and whatnot, they really are.
There's an entire TV show, The Big Bang Theory, which is all about nerd culture, basically. Yeah. So it's very much out in the pop culture these days.
And I think it's like the opposite now. I think
now, it is very much
the most popular and most
Yeah. Like comic books, just like that kind of thing too. It's the same
kind of, when we were kids, reading a comic book on the school bus was a way to get your life beat out. Like, what? You don't keep up on WandaVision? What's wrong with
you? Your mom wouldn't find Playboy. She'd find comics under your lap.
How dare you? Why aren't you jacking off the Playboy like everybody else?
My mom kept me quiet. She'd buy me a comic on the way into like a store or something if I go shopping with her. And by the time she was done shopping, I'd be at the end of the comic. But like she knew if he got me that 99-cent comic or whatever, I'd be super well behaved the entire trip.
And there's an element that to Fish too. I mean, Fish for some is a party band, and there's that aspect of it. And you go and just get blazed and look at the lights and flip out. But then there's those of us. Oh, they've never. They've never gone into Weekapaw group from this before. It's not been since 2.0 they've done this. There's that sort of slavish love of stats, and which appeals to me, and I think appeals to Trek fans. So there is a lot of overlap between Trek and Fish. I mean, some of it obvious, but some of it less obvious than others.
Yeah, I mean, I think the fan base is a big one. Like the intensity. I think Trek, obviously, Star Trek is much bigger and global. Number wise, it's not comparable, but passion and like the hardcoreness of it, I think they're two very intense fan bases.
Tribalism, it's very much a tribe.
To the extreme.
Yeah. Well, there's Spock's Brain too. I mean, there's literally a song, right? And I remember the break when they busted Spock's Brain out in Vegas. It was actually kind of funny. It was one of the most like silent bust outs, I promise you. Like no one knew what it was for a second, right? And it's really a funny song, and I know it's an interesting episode, a controversial episode, and a thing, right? So I'm curious what your take on that.
Well, yeah. Well, first of all, the song Spock's Brain is a good one. It's not like the most melodic, so when you do hear it at first, you're like, what is this noise? What am I hearing? Why aren't they playing sand? What is this? It's a little bit, but it's a good one though. So the funny thing about Spock's Brain, which just sounds like such ridiculous sci-fi, is it actually is a controversial episode in Star Trek lore, and I'm going to give you the short version of it. Star Trek was, for its time, a rather expensive television show. We look back at this special effects of the 1960s and say, oh, it's so cheesy. But actually, for its day, it was bleeding edge, and it was very expensive and hard to produce. It was also produced independently and then sold to the studio, to the network, which was NBC. Weirdly enough, the production company that paid for Star Trek, does anybody know who ultimately signed the check for Star Trek? It'll blow your mind, man. It was Lucille Ball.
Oh, I've heard that. I knew that.
Lucille Ball. It was, she did not.
Desilu, right? Desilu.
So she had an underling who was in charge of starting productions for Desilu, and they're for the year for 66. They had two biggies. They had Mission Impossible, and which is funny because Leonard Nimoy eventually went on to play a character on Mission Impossible, and Star Trek. And when Lucille Ball first heard about Star Trek, she thought it was like a USO review, like a bunch of like a variety show. Like each week, a bunch of celebs are going to go to a different theater. This week they'll be in Milwaukee. This week they'll be in Chicago. The Star Trek, you know? And they're like, no, it's actually a science fiction show. Here's the script. And she's like, oh, I love it. It's great. It's the Old West, but in space. And she signed the check. But it was a big bet. So it was a success in season 1, but the network kept moving around the time. So by the time I got to season 2, the ratings were dipping, but there was a tremendous love for it. The fans were finding it, and if they did ratings differently back then, they would have known they had a core audience that was going bananas for this show, but it didn't have big numbers. It was about to get canceled, and this was the first time ever that fans saved a show with a letter writing campaign. And they were going to cancel at the end of season 2. And then a woman, she's still alive. I've met her a number of times. Her name is Bijo Trimble. She's like 83 years old now, and she's got pink hair. She's nuts. And really cool lady. She started this letter writing campaign. You know, like now we would just like change.org, man. No, she started this in 1968. And there was a letter writing campaign, and they saved Star Trek for season 3. But there was, because so many people thought season 2 was going to be it, a lot of the producers left. So they had to get new people on board. And season 3 kind of sucks compared to season 1 and season 2. It's just a little bit different. It's a little bit cheesier, and the budgets are slashed. So the first episode of season 3 is like, finally, we saved this show. This like great science fiction show that's really smart, has great characters, has a lot of depth, different from other cheesy sci-fi shows out there. Now we'll watch season 3, the ones that the season that the fans saved. And the first episode is Spock's brain, and it's like awful. But it's so bad that it's good. It really is one of those things that is so like Ed Wood style ridiculous that you gotta love it. The premise is there's a planet of hot chicks.
Of course.
A planet of hot chicks.
Utopia. I was just on there. I couldn't.
There's a planet of hot chicks. And they like keep their mongrel manservants up on the surface, but they're down in the basement, you know, like running around these tunnels like they always do in sci-fi shows. And they're just sort of like controlled by this computer. The computer like runs the planet, and the computer is dying because it's 1,000 years old, and it needs something really, really strong to power this computer to save the Morg and the iMorg, which are the males and the females on this planet. What is the one thing powerful enough to run this supercomputer? Spock's brain. Of course. So they have to go and steal Spock's brain and stick it in the computer. But Spock's body is still alive, and they move him around by remote control. He looks like Frankenstein's monster. It's awesome. It's
McCoy saves him. Saves him.
McCoy does brain surgery, but he doesn't know how he does it because they inject him with like 15 minutes of super smarts. And he's like, I don't know how I'm able to do this. But they put him in a hairdryer. It's like literally like a hairdryer. And they put neon lights on it. And they go, and he's like, I am a genius for 15 minutes. Please hand me that scalpel. And he rips out the brain and puts it back in. And then later he's like, I do not know how to repeat that.
I took some of that super smarts at Alpine 03, actually. It wasn't quite as advertised. It didn't work like it did for McCoy.
Yeah. So that was Spock's brain. And it's
I wonder how
bad.
that compares to Jamtopia as far as storylines go.
Yeah, I mean, Jamtopia at least had some good tunes. This they just had this belt they put on the men, and the women when they wanted the men to stop, they would just hit the button and they would like freeze, and Kirk would fall over, and
Wait, so do you know the origin of the song? Does the song have anything to do with the episode, or is it just
No.
Wasn't that one of the ones where they had the fans name?
Yeah, it was an audience poll, and that was one of the options. And I don't think the song has anything to do with Star Trek at all.
Let's get into the plane on time.
Do they say the word brain in it? Do they say the word? They say plane. They don't say brain.
Right.
Yeah, they say plane. Yeah, I haven't heard it in years.
No brain involved. No.
Okay. Well, but it shows you that Fish had Star Trek on the mind, and apart from them just like being, Trey being kind of a goof who was into sci-fi as a kid. I mean, there are other moments. Like there are a few in history where they do the tease, with the
theremin. They do that with the theremin.
Yeah, he played the Star Trek theme at Red Rocks. Yeah, Kev, one of the years at Red Rocks, Paige did the Star Trek theme.
Yeah, it's even in the movie Bittersweet Motel.
Yeah.
When the band is teaching each other Birds of a Feather in the opening credits, and he's like, no, Fish, play with the hi-hat. And then Paige is doing the chords and goes, wait a second, and then he plays the Star Trek theme. He's like, hey. So that's in there. And then you saw the more recent documentary film, the one called Between Me and My Mind. Trey and poor Sue, are walking on the boardwalk in not Atlantic City, Asbury Park. And she's like reminiscing of days on the road. And she's like, remember that one time when we were in the band when we were on the bus with the kids, and you had decked out the bus in all sci-fi lights? And he's like, oh, that was the Enterprise tour. We had the bus look like the Enterprise. We watched Star Trek movies the whole time. So
it sounds like so much fun. I want to hang out on that bus.
They were on a real Star Trek.
There's definitely a little sci-fi influence. I mean, they played 2001. What does space smell like? They did a whole thing. So there's definitely some sci-fi in there within space. So
I mean,
creatures.
Big black furry creature from Mars.
And, the rhombus into Gamehenge is a little bit more fantasy than sci-fi, but it's just multi-beasts are more. I would call that more Lord of the Rings influenced than Star Trek influenced. However, it's definitely part of the, it's part of the DNA. It's funny.
You don't think they could end up on Planet Gamehenge on Star Trek? They beam down to a planet and there's a race of lizard people.
I am surprised that no enterprising young animator hasn't done like a 40-minute short film based on Man Who Stepped into Yesterday, like a la an animator doing Yellow Submarine, and the Beatles just sort of being like, sure, we're not really involved, but go for it.
Fish Inc. says no.
Well, I feel like, because I've thought about it. I don't know if I've even brought it, but I don't think anyone that knows the material well enough to be able to pull it off also respects it enough not to do it, right? Like there's this weird, I feel like Trey wouldn't want you to do that. Like it lives within the lexicon of the music, and I don't know. That's the impression I get. That was the feeling. Was like
Tolkien, you can never sell it to Disney. Don't ever sell the rights to Disney.
Yeah.
I don't know. All of his stuff got sold.
Exactly.
I don't know. It's funny. I guess it depends who would approach. Like if it
was done by the right people, it would be awesome.
If it was approached as like a non-profit, like if some MFA student wanted to do it as their thesis project, I think it would be kind of fun. I bet you somebody has, over the years, somebody has to have done some kind of visual thing to it. It's funny you mentioned 2001. That's right. Do you want to hear a funny connection that's going to blow your friggin' mind about that version of 2001 that has a weird Fish callback? I'd like to take you, if we're on warp 5 right now, I'd like to go into a transwarp corridor and take this wook+ experience on the USS Tweeprise and really kick it up to warp 7.
It's your audition for captain, so let's do it.
Yeah, I think.
Bringing it back to the storyline.
I think this might, if I'm being considered for the center seat, I think that there's a connection here between science fiction and fish that's going to blow your mind. All right, so dig this, right? 2001, as we call it, boom, boop, doo doo, boop, ba-doom, boop, doo doo, boop, right? So that tune, what is that all about? Well, we know it's the theme from the movie 2001: A Space Odyssey, right? But it's based on a classical music piece. Mm-hmm. The classical music piece is called "Thus Spake Zarathustra," or also "Sprach Zarathustra," from the German, written by Richard Strauss. Turn of the century, let's say 1910, 1908, whenever he wrote that piece of classical music. And it's just the first 3 minutes of a longer song cycle. That's like 45 minutes. It, in turn, was based on a book called also Sprach Zarathustra by Friedrich Nietzsche, a philosopher of German origin who came up with the phrase "God is dead." That was his big hit, right? But that was from a different book. And Thus Spake Zarathustra is a story of Zoroaster. Zoroaster was a real dude from ancient Persia who created a religion called Zoroastrianism. Zoroastrianism still exists, by the way. You can find Zoroastrists in Iran, and actually, weirdly enough, a lot in the Boston area. Not a lot, like a few hundred, but it's a micro religion. Zoroastrianism. It's a real thing that not too many people know about. All right, so dig this. All right, so we're going back here. So a real figure from Persian history, and he was sort of like a prophet figure. Nietzsche did a novel taking this character and kind of recreating his life to kind of shoehorn his philosophy in there. Richard Strauss was so impressed by this novel that he wrote the song cycle "Thus Spake Zarathustra" with that opening bit, bum 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 bum. Stanley Kubrick made the movie 2001: A Space Odyssey in 1968 with the intention of having an original score composed by Alex North, who he worked with before on the movie Spartacus. And Alex North composed a score for 2001. It exists. You can find it on the internet. But while he was cutting the movie, he did what a lot of filmmakers do, which is called a temp track. And he put classical music pieces in there while North was working on the thing. And this is a fairly common experience. He fell in love with the temp track, heard Alex North's music, and said, "Here's your check. I'm not using it. Thanks." And he kept the famous bum, 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 bum. Marriage with that film became an instant meme in 1968, 1969. People getting high, watching 2001, hearing that music. The soundtrack album was a major hit, classical music off the charts. And it became such a hit that bum, 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 bum was parodied endlessly. And in fact, none other than Elvis used it, right? In his comeback specials. Elvis used it. You can hear it on the 72 album, at Madison Square Garden. You can hear it on the Aloha special from Hawaii. That was a TV special. And then it was used on like the Electric Company. It was used everywhere. It became really famous. So famous that we cut to a few years later, and there's this dude from, I want to say Italy, maybe Spain, I forget. I think it's Italy, named Eumir Deodato, who was like a keyboardist, jazz, funk, fusion guy. And he recorded his funky version of 2001. And that version was also put in a movie called Being There with Peter Sellers, directed by Hal Ashby. Peter Sellers, of course, was in a lot of Stanley Kubrick films to bring it back to Stanley Kubrick. But it was being in the movie Being There that made Deodato's version a hit. Why am I getting to this? Okay, dig this. Eumir Deodato later married somebody, I forget who, blah, 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 had a kid. That kid was the woman who married one of the Baldwin brothers. That Baldwin brother had a daughter named Haley Baldwin. Haley Baldwin later got married and is still married to Justin Bieber, who is the only other substantial music artist who uses Chris Kuroda on their tour as a lighting designer. So there you go. You got Zoroaster in ancient Persia all the way down through the ages to Justin Bieber, connecting it to Kuroda, correcting it to Fish. And that's why when you hear them play 2001, they're part of a legacy that goes back centuries, man, and it's all connected.
Holy
Live long
shit.
and prosper.
Does the funky Italian version sound anything like the funky fish version?
Just like it. Yeah, just like it.
Yeah,
Is that where they got that? I mean, it wasn't like
you can listen to it on Spotify or whatever, and you go like, oh, that's Mike and Paige right there. You know, they took it.
That kind of takes away from Fish too a little bit.
little bit. No, not with this new story though. With this story though,
you brought it back.
It's part of a legacy.
Hey, Jordan, I'm gonna I'm up. I want to get it out of the way early. Take a quick little break.
Yeah.
For sponsors, but you're gonna hang out. We'll do the second half of the show on the other side.
Yeah, we'll see what's happening next.
All right. Hopefully this plays all right.
Nice.
There is a fifth dimension, beyond that which is known to man. It is a dimension as vast as space and as timeless as infinity. It is the middle ground between light and shadow, between science and superstition, and it lies between the pit of man's fears and the summit of his knowledge.
From the darkest reaches of space, 2,000 light years away, a wild, headlong flight into terror. They came from planet Wook.
Just a minute, ladies and gentlemen. I think something is happening.
Failure in lab structural integrity.
A film that will shock you and haunt your dreams. You will never be able to forget. They came from planet Wook.
Lazy Jedi is officially now my favorite bit we've ever done. The idea of getting fat and lazy because you don't have to ever get up. Love it.
So good. I love it. We really overthought it and then made it simple, but I was like, well, how am I going to put myself in a full green room so I can he's like, dude, just sit there and then cut to your hand and then come. I was like, oh, yeah, I guess I could do that.
If you know Trav, like Lazy Jedi is the perfect. I mean, that is the role. If Trav was ever going to be in a role, that's the one. That's him again. Maybe a little bit of the first word, but a Jedi also too. This stuff,
like the Lebowski Jedi is what I kind of aspire to.
Exactly. Can't beat that. Yeah, that's perfect.
That was great. That was good. That was good. And Kev's K-hole. Those images. The image behind him is so good. I love it. I could just stare at that for hours. It's so good. Little time lapse.
Jordan's like, what the hell kind of show am I on?
I won't sleep tonight after that, so I'll probably, thanks to that bit of terror.
The K-hole zone.
Yeah. No.
Well, the show wasn't solely Star Trek. I think it was Star Trek centric, but we wanted to do more sci-fi. So that was our bumper in the middle of the show where we do 3 minutes of other sci-fi genres. Holy shit! The book board is lit up. We haven't had a call into the show in a couple of weeks. You want to see who it is?
Take the call.
Sure.
All right. Line 4.
Oh, hey there. Am I on the show? This is Josh Frost from Oshkosh.
Holy shit, Josh, you're still alive.
Oh yeah, hey, it's been a while there. I was on a bit of a vacation there, hey, and so there, hey, yeah.
We thought you came down with the COVID or something. I'm glad you're doing okay.
Oh no COVID here. I got the Johnson & Johnson. Yeah,
Nice, that a boy.
Oh yeah.
Where'd you go on vacation?
Oh no, I'm a little disappointed in you guys. I got to just bring it up. You guys didn't mention Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy there, hey, and so. Yeah, yeah, it's 42, there.
It is.
I'm 42,
I just had to make sure he wasn't an imposter. So Josh, I'm going to let you stay on a little bit longer because it's been so long.
Oh, I would be thrilled to stick around there because I have like 1,000 questions for Mr. Hoffman there, and so there.
If Jordan's willing to,
I love Hitchhiker's Guide is great. I feel like that needs to be revived. I feel like a younger generation is in danger of not knowing about it.
Oh yeah, hey, strange but true fact for me there, hey, and so there, yeah, hey. I read the Restaurant at the End of the Universe before I read the Hitchhiker's Guide.
Oh wow, how did that work out for you?
Oh, fantastic! That's pretty good. I mean, I'm a nerd now, but
yeah,
that's how
you went
goes.
straight to set 2 before set 1. Whoa.
Yeah, I know. I went straight to the Empire before the Star Wars. It's like Temple of Doom before the Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah.
Keep going.
That was my.
I was hoping you were just gonna keep
going.
Oh, I can keep going if you want there, hey. I can keep going if you want there, hey. But my question,
it's like Lord of the Rings before the Hobbit, eh?
Oh yeah, there, hey. But that was my question for the Mr. Hoffman there, hey. And so yeah, because I was wondering, do you consider Raiders of the Lost Ark science fiction there, hey?
Whoa. Well, yeah, that's an interesting question because I would say no, although it does involve some supernatural elements.
Oh, it doesn't the latest one, especially. Like we kind of got into the whole alien thing.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Well,
the crystal skull, crystal skull there,
If we want to talk about that disaster.
Yeah, that movie kind of sucked, though. I mean, that's
exactly.
Don't you talk about my franchise like that. I love that franchise. Yeah, franchise can do no wrong there, hey. And so, yeah.
You know what? I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt and I saw that movie one time in the theater with a big, went in with a smile, came out with a frown. So I do think that I should give it a second try. It's certainly been long enough, but I did not care for it the one time I saw it. I'll give you that. I
gotta say, I gotta be honest with you. I give it a lot of the benefit of the doubt there. Hey, I don't not good.
Well, they're doing another one, if you can believe it.
They are.
Oh, yeah,
Mangold.
I can't
this
believe
one's got
it,
hope because Mangold's directing it, which gives me great hope for it. After doing Logan and stuff, I think he's going to do a great job with it.
I think James Mangold is pretty good. He did the Ford versus Ferrari thing, right? I think that's a really good movie.
Yeah.
And they just cast somebody good in it, right? Oh, Phoebe Waller-Stone, whatever her name is. She's probably going to be his daughter or something. Right?
Oh, you bring up a good.
They got rid of Shia as his son. Yeah, which is nice.
You bring up my next question there, Jordan, is Fast and the Furious science fiction?
Oh, you got a frog in your throat. You lost your accent there.
Yeah, I know. There, I gotta cut down on those Marlboro Reds there, and so
there are That's a good question. Not at first, but as the franchise expands, much like our universe is expanding.
Oh yeah,
I think you can make a good case that the Fast and Furious franchise is now in the realm of sci-fi because it involves machinery, propulsion systems, and vehicles that simply don't exist, right? And the new one, they're launching in the stratosphere.
Yep.
That's what I'm talking about there, hey. And so that's a science fiction
cutting edge of
consider
some of the 007 movies would be considered sci-fi too, because it involves machinery that simply is a little
Moonraker. There you go.
What about Jason in outer space? Friday the 13th, part 27
or
whatever.
That's just dumb. I'm not gonna get but no, Fast and Furious is sci-fi. I'm gonna vote yes on that. I think especially the newer ones. I mean, it's on the edge.
No, I agree with you, and that's why I brought it up there. Hey, okay, so like one more question, if you don't mind. I'm sorry to take up all your time.
No, it's great. I wanted to ask you a question, but I'll let you go first.
Oh no, go ahead. Oh, I want to be the interview guy. Yeah, interview me.
No, I mean you've called the show a dozen times. I figure we should
at least you. Well, you've only had 11 shows, so there's no way I could have called a dozen times. But
there was that time you called in twice. I'm pretty sure.
That's true. Oh yeah. There, I called in twice there. Hey, yeah, and so.
Listen,
I appreciate it. I love it.
Tweet prize. Time does not move sequentially. I mean, this may
don't get me started on Doctor Who there, hey. And so, if you want to get me started on time,
we should have brought him up on the intercom that we get the distress call on. It would have been a lot more better with the continuity. But you know what? We're wooks. No, I was wondering, Josh, if you were familiar with the dead bracket. The grateful bracket.
No, I'm melting there, hey. I'm melting. I don't know.
Who do you think's going to win the bracket?
I think Terrapin. I mean, I don't know if that'd be my vote necessarily, but I think Terrapin gets the vote there, hey. And so, did they play Terrapin at Alpine ever? Because if they played it at Alpine, then it's definitely going to win. It has to be a song they played at the Alpine Valley. Because
what's your favorite song ever played at that venue?
You guys remember the Ruby Waves that Fish played at? Oh, I know we're talking the dead bracket right now, but that Ruby Waves, oh my goodness!
In '88, they did a Terrapin there. That 4-night run in '88.
Oh, I like that the science officer had the stats from it. Why did I just turn Scottish?
Kevin's brain, Hogan's brain,
Hogan's brain. Oh, hey, Hogan. I got a question for you. I don't want to put you on the spot or anything, but I need a slogan for a starship. What do you think?
Dude, it would have been great, Josh, if you called us last week with that, so we could have.
I should have set you up ahead of time. I suppose.
Oh, the poor people.
I don't get invited.
Just got really excited.
I don't get invited to the bit meetings.
Well, Josh, we'll make sure we get you in.
I got one for you. I got one for you. We go at the speed of light, so you don't have to. No, that's terrible. I don't know. That's why I'm not good at it. That's why it's Hogan's slogans, not Josh's slogans.
All right, Josh. Well, you got any other questions for Jordan, or are we gonna let you go?
I did have one more.
Let's hear one more.
Do you like that Goose Band? They're okay, right?
I do. Yeah, they're all right. I haven't seen them live yet. I was planning to, and then this whole friggin' thing started. But all signs point to me being a Goose fan. I at first I'm like, I don't need another band with a dumb name in my life. Give me a break. And then
dumb name. We can agree it's a dumb name for a band, right?
And then they're like, no, they're people are like, they're good. I'm like, all right, I'll tune in. And I'm a subscriber to nugs.net, and I like to walk around with my headphones on, and I put in a Goose show, and I'm like, these guys are good. I got to say, what my favorite second tier jam band is, and some people go like they're great, and some people give me the stink eye. I'm gonna let it rip.
I might agree with you here. Go ahead, though.
I think Spafford is terrific.
Spafford, I was gonna say Spafford. Oh yeah, they're big Spafford family here.
That kind of reaction out of the Wisconsin.
Spafford. Oh yeah, the Spafford. That's
really great. I've only seen him. Oh no, actually, I've seen him like 4 times, but which is a lot, come to think of it. But they're great. You know, they're terrific. I mean, the one thing that I think that is not going in their credit is like their main, like their big tune, the name of which, of course, I can't remember. And it's like a jam vehicle, like it's like a 20-minute jam vehicle, but it starts off like really poppy and stupid. And I think it's like a tongue-in-cheek thing. It's like, hey, we're going to be really corny. And like their main tune like can't be the tune you hear when you first want to hear about this band. And unfortunately it is for a lot of people because it's the one they play at every show.
Yeah, I got here's my claim to fame with Spafford is I love them to death, but I don't know the name of any one of their songs.
No,
I don't know. Like I could not name a Spafford song at all.
No, I just know it's the one that does this, the one that does that. That's the age of streaming. Back in the day, we had to write down the names of freaking songs on the tape. We had to write down.
Oh yeah.
When you had the world, you know, we had.
I used to write them on my hand there. Hey, you know, with a pen on the back of my hand. Hey, look. Do you think you guys can do a Spafford show someday? Well, that would be fun. You know, get one of those guys on here.
It's been nice talking to you, Josh. We let you go longer since you haven't called in for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, you know, I miss you guys.
Josh, I wanted to let you know I heard a rumor that there's a post-credit scene tonight, so I know you're watching. Yeah. You're our most loyal fan.
I love those. Oh yeah, hey, I had like 10 more questions for Famer, but I'll save them for next time.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll have Famer cameo.
What was up with the costume change there? Hey, I noticed you changed costumes there. Hey, mid-show.
I had to clean up. I was at Planet Jamtopia, dude, for like.
How'd that first shower feel?
For one day, but it was also a lifetime. So, and so the way it works at Planet Jamtopia, so I needed to get cleaned up, man.
How did that shower feel after the 4-hour doink and bonk?
Exactly. You have to take a shower after that.
That was ironically my second question there. You know, so there. My third question was like, how good did you get at hula hooping?
I think Josh is waiting for me to cut him off, but that's all the reason
he is. He's definitely waiting for you to cut him off.
Hula hoop, by the way, just before I let you go. I think it's close, but yeah, I still can't hula hoop. I've now.
One more, Josh.
Oh, what a waste of time.
What a shame. What a shame.
What a shame.
No.
Okay. Hey there, Bider. Hey, it was nice.
There you go.
We had some good
hearing from Josh.
You had some good melts going on in the chat over drum space too, while that was all going on.
Yeah.
You know, we should take this opportunity to share the number to call into the show, so we get more than just Josh. If get your pen and pencil or paper ready, if you want to call in, the number is.
Or you could just watch the video back tomorrow.
That's true. You don't actually have to write it down. Thanks. I forgot this is not, in fact, national TV. This is actually the USS Tweeprees, and continuity is not our strong suit. Wait, is there another call? I can't tell if this is just Josh forgetting he stayed on the line or if there's another call. But line 4, Josh?
Oh, hey there! I dropped the phone. I dropped the phone there. I didn't realize I dropped the phone. Like I didn't know what the hang up button was. You know, it's
sure.
complicated. You know, it's complicated.
Josh, drums or space?
Oh, you know, I got to go. Oh, that's a tough one. You know,
It's not even a tough question. It's not tough at all.
Oh, I like space.
He went the wrong way.
Yeah.
He went the wrong way.
Space, you might be a psychopath.
I had to bring him back, but
yeah, you know, yeah. I mean, I like the drums because I like when the Mickey Hart plays on the weird stuff, you know. But
all right,
when
Josh,
the
it was great talking to you.
Oh yeah, great talking to you too.
On again.
Okay,
I'm gonna throw a little English on the ball on the drums v space argument because I have a thought. I think as a general rule, the answer is drums because it's just more energetic and it's more listenable. And also what Dead and Company now is doing with drums is really cool. However, if you're there, the answer is space.
Oh God, no. You know what? Nobody goes to a Dead show and goes, "God, I can't wait for space." It's like going to a Fish show and going, "Man, I can't wait for the vocal jam and YAM." That's why I'm here tonight.
Does anybody?
You never look forward to that. You don't want to.
Does anybody go and say, "I want to hear
drums tonight"? While I'm tripping my balls off. Yes, but space.
Yeah, but while you're there,
no.
I did say. I like the captain interview is just he's stuck into his guns, man. I like it.
I like it.
Yeah, I'm not going to capitulate, man. I'm going to stick to my guns. You know, Riker
I'm leaning towards giving him the job, even though he might be a psychopath if he's voting for space. But that's okay.
Let me ask you a question about the dead bracket, the Grateful. What do you call it? The
Grateful bracket.
Now you got all the songs there. Are you talking about when we go to assess song X? Are we assessing the song that's on the studio album, or are we assessing the song in its whole lifespan?
Jordan, that is a great question. I'm
you assess it how you want, because it's also like, are you assessing it as your favorite song, or are you assessing it as like the Dead's best song? So I think
he just heard me do this rant so many times. He's like, "I'm jumping all over this."
Yeah. No, I'm just saying how I would do it, because we always get asked that, and it's kind of like, how do you like weigh the things? It's just like the comic book bracket. Like, is it more powerful? Is it your favorite? Like, how do you weigh?
You weigh your voting favorite. Your favorite is the one you vote for.
Right, but we purposefully do not give any criteria or constraints for the reason that it's different for each person. And I don't, honestly, for the beginning, it was for gatekeeping, because I didn't want to say like the best performance, right? Because some people are casual fans and they might not know every version of Dark Star, right? Or like with the Fish bracket, they might not know the best version, but they might really love, Theme from the Bottom, so they vote for that.
Right.
So part of it was gatekeeping, and part of it was laziness, because I just didn't want to argue with a bunch of wooks about the criteria.
Well, because it's tough. I mean, it's really interesting with the Dead, because if you're talking studio versions, there are great studio versions of every song, but like studio version of Dark Star is like 2.5 minutes, and it's fine. It's nothing special. But then, you base your life on it when you start looking at the live stuff.
It changes everything.
It's tough. It is. I don't know what's going to win. I'm very curious.
I don't know what's going to win either, because the interesting thing is we did this bracket, or actually this was before wook+, so I did this bracket 3 years ago, but I had lumped together songs. So like Scarlet Fire was an entry, or Help Slipknot Franklin was an entry, right? Like all these, the common pairings.
Yeah.
So the final, which should have been 2, was 5 songs. Scarlet Fire 1. So that's not going to happen this year. This year we separated all the songs, and I don't think Scarlet Begonias or Fire on the Mountain individually are strong enough to perform like that. So I have no idea. I think Dark Star, personally, might take it.
Playing. I think playing
that definitely has a shot. I think Terrapin. I think Josh's guess that Terrapin's a great shot.
Yeah.
What's funny is if I had a vote between Scarlet or Fire, you vote for Fire because you come into Fire with the essence of Scarlet within you, man. It's like you've just experienced the Scarlet, and
that without Scarlet, you probably wouldn't like Fire nearly as much.
Well,
I know, but and
you go out of Fire into drums.
And it's the only other place you hear Fire is after Fish shows.
If this is turning into a Mickey Hart fluffing episode, I'm gonna have to.
No, this is a legit question.
This is a part of this. Because Mickey Hart just buys stuff from Guitar Center and starts shaking it around and like calls it, I can't, no, Mickey, no drums, all space. Please,
this is the one I was going to say. I would vote.
Not going to win it, I don't think, but it's not going to be in the top 4 or 5.
I don't think it'll win, but that would be my favorite.
He put a whooping on Ship of Fools. Eyes put a whooping on Ship of Fools last night.
Sure.
Oh,
of course it would.
Yeah,
the worst song. The funny thing about Mickey Hart's newest.
Hold on, caller.
The Ramu, right? That's his new little doohickey. The Ramu. The Ramu's hilarious. It's just like he pushes a button and some sound effect comes out. It's just
My daughter has that. My daughter has that. I can go upstairs. She's 8 years old. And say, "Hey, get out and make noise." You'll be.
Dead Company will be looking for drummers. Dead and Company will be looking for drummers sooner than later.
Oh. Yeah. All right. I'm going to use this opportunity to bring in a caller.
I'm hating on Mickey. I'm not trying to let him die.
Hey, line 5. I didn't even know we had a 5th line. This is amazing.
Oh yeah, I found out about the 5th. Hey, it's Josh again. I'm sorry. Yeah,
guys, we have to get a better production team backstage.
Oh well, I mean,
Josh.
as far as I know, I'm the only. I'm sorry, I'm the only one with the phone line.
Josh,
you should give out the
number.
number.
Need a job? Because apparently we need a screener.
Oh, I would be good at that. I would be good at being the screener there, hey. And so, I could be like, "Hello, wook+," and then people would be like, "Oh, I want to talk to the wook," and I'd be like, "No." I'd be good at that there, hey. And so,
you would be. Did you have something that you wanted to say? Is there?
No, I'm just bored. I had 6 more questions for Famber.
Oh, please don't know. You don't want to talk to me. I'm boring.
Oh yeah, I do. Don't tell me what I want to do.
He's got. Well, we haven't mentioned 420. I mean, it is 421, right? But we haven't mentioned 420, and on Jamtopia, it's still 420. By the way, it's there. It's that every day.
It's always 420.
And it will be tomorrow. Revolution around the sun.
100%.
Yeah.
Jordan put out an amazing. So we're talking about ranking stuff. wook+, we're ranking stuff all the time. It's a thing with wook+, right? So he ranked the best
seating. Yeah.
What's that?
Nothing.
Oh, Bobby. You guys
seating, not ranking.
I don't know. It makes me feel better.
What did I say?
Seating over ranking. Seating.
Line 3.
You're okay.
I will regret this.
Oh, but
playing in the band is underrated there, hey. And so I mean.
All right, I think that's the last one I'm going to take.
Good. But Jordan put out the Cheech and Chong ranking of the best Cheech and Chong movies on 420, and it's incredible. He mentioned that it's like legalization is wonderful and all those things, but then it's kind of going to kill the stoner movie, and so I'm interested to hear your theory of
well, it's changed it, I mean, we're all old enough that first of all, I did watch in one day the 5 main Cheech and Chong movies. They made more than 5, but the 5 that were they made a 6th one that wasn't a stoner movie, the Corsican Brothers, which was PG.
Yeah.
But I watched their 5, Up in Smoke, next movie, Nice Dreams, Things Are Tough All Over, and Still Smoking. And some are better than others. But, there was a danger to it. There was a renegade outlaw aspect to marijuana that doesn't exist anymore, which for the better. I mean, incarceration is not a good thing. And, drug smuggling is not good for your health and whatnot, and all that's bad.
Among other things.
Yeah, it's bad, and and there was and the Dead too. They had their dirtbag Dead years, all this stuff with the Hell's Angels. That's a whole bad scene. A lot of that was heavy drugs, but still, going to see Cheech and Chong in 1982 at the drive-in was oh my god, that's bad,
it was like porn. It was like a porn movie.
Right. It was really. It was like going to see a Satan worshiping metal concert, And now, Cheech Marin, of course. What's funny is that he was an actor. I mean, that character is not him at all. He is not a low-riding vato at all. He does funny voices. And he barely even speaks Spanish in real life. He's like a brainiac. He's like a really smart guy. Chong is a little bit like Chong. I mean, he's
never stopped being Chong. He's Chong, yeah. But
he's a little bit more like
fake Chong. That's that's so genuine of who he is.
Yeah. But the point is, the legalization of marijuana, the decriminalization of it, the change in attitude in society is great, and the kids are inheriting something wonderful. The only thing that they're missing out on is that sort of
rebellion,
rebellion, danger, and it's evident in these 5 movies. Not only one of which is truly good. Up in Smoke is a good movie. It's funny as shit.
I thought you had Up in Smoke. You had Up in Smoke as one, which I think is a no-brainer.
Obvious,
I thought Still Smoking was a little low. I think you went. What'd you go? Nice Dreams next. Is that what you went?
No, I just listed when I wrote about them. I wrote them in the order they came in. But I think Still Smoking.
Fam was melting artificially. There was no reason for Fam to melt. He's like all pissed off. Damn you, Jordan!
But no, I did say that Still Smoking was one of the lesser films because it's barely has a plot. It's just sketches.
Yes.
Also, there's a lot of like I'm all for comedy that's like of its time, but there's like they're in blackface half the movie. It's like whoa, it's a little bit much.
Shoot, I forgot about what is Fine Melon Chitlin. Yeah,
there's Fine Melon Chitlin, which is fine on an album.
Oh,
but it's different when you see it. And then Cheech is in like double blackface. He comes out as it's like a parody of the
double blackface.
Yeah, so he comes out as a Jamaican, and then they pull off his dreads, and he's just like a regular African American, pretending to be. But it's like no, he's Cheech, so he's in double blackface.
I haven't seen it. It's a good point. It'd be interesting in like today's.
I mean, yeah, you're mature enough to take it for what it is, but it's a little weird. But those other movies. But the other funny thing about early Cheech and Chong movies is that's where Pee Wee Herman came from.
I was gonna say hamburger.
Yeah,
I got one of those too. That was so great with the cocaine, and he's like, under the table. Oh God, so good. Hamburger. I love that movie.
Crazy. And then he's like. He in one scene he's doing that voice like crazy like coke fiend Pee-wee, and then he goes, "I bid you shalom," and he walks away. Did you know that Paul Rubin's father was like an ace pilot in the Israeli army? Like what that is not what you think Pee-wee's dad is.
No,
yeah, that's unexpected.
The Tom Cruise of Israel is not what you expect.
We became an ace pilot in a movie theater, a certain kind of movie theater, solo mission. Yeah. So the inevitable question then, of course, is Cheech and Chong sci-fi? Did you come with that conclusion?
One of the movies, I think it's the one called Cheech and Chong's next movie.
Yeah.
Which is their second movie. They do get abducted by aliens.
Yeah.
So,
and they do create the weed that turns the guy into a lizard. So I mean, there is that like scientific element.
I think we need to revisit this theme.
Is that where they got the lizard people? Yeah,
the lizard people. Yeah, see, weed leads to the lizard people.
Guys,
they were way ahead of us.
I am beyond fascinated with the Cheech and Chong conversation, but we are up against it, and we have a strict time slot here.
Well, yeah, because we have another show after this one with
can you believe it? By the way, that we went through this entire show, made it the entire show, and nobody died.
Oh man!
And I didn't even have to use my phaser once. Oh shit!
Oh God! Oh, 2 days to retirement.
Oh, a red shirt died. That's unfortunate.
I hate making that call.
That was not well produced or executed, but the joke is there.
It would be the lazy Jedi that got it.
I will see you guys next time. Jordan, we'll definitely have you back. It was great talking with you.
And I'm going to see some of you at a show eventually, whether it's Tab, whether it's Twiddle, wherever the fuck it is. We're going to see you at a show eventually, I hope.
Exactly.
Fam, thanks for coming by. We'll definitely be having you on again. This has been awesome.
Love you,
all right. Next time, guys.
Good seeing you, Jordan.
So long.
Mayday. 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 This is Fam Jam from Famtopia. Mayday. Mayday. This is Fam Jam. On day 5, Mayday, Mayday, Fam Jam here from Jamtopia. I'm on day 5 of a Twitter run here. Can't do it anymore. Mayday, beam me up. Mayday, Mayday.
I hereby call to order the 55th conclave of the Jam Band Illuminati.